Hey guys, welcome to the Brains Are Rude podcast with me, Antarctic Ninja, and the wonderful Loot the Body. This podcast is where we talk about anything and everything mental health, so sit back, relax, and enjoy while we talk about all of our crazy and invite you along for the ride.
So, if you go to patreon.com/mentalhealthandmakeup, you will get to see the Brains Are Rude tier. And the Brains Are Rude tier is $60 a month, and for that support, you will get listed in the credits and panels for Brains Are Rude. You'll get behind the scenes Brains Are Rude content, digital downloads, early access, all of the post archive on this Patreon, exclusive voting power for upcoming topics. You will get a mug after 3 months of support. You will get a Brains Are Rude t-shirt after 6 months of support. You will get a Brains Are Rude organic tote bag after 9 months of support. And after 1 full year, you will also get a Brains Are Rude hoodie. This is our Brains Are Rude Patreon tier to help us keep doing what we love to do for you. Rough couple of years.
Yeah.
But investing in myself and what makes me like...
Happy? Smile?
Oh, I am so thankful that I did. Because, I know, like, especially when we struggle with mental health, we were like, we don't really deserve to treat ourselves.
I know.
You know? And
that's why I just keep working, because you just think you don't deserve it, so you just keep working. You've got to be better, and you've got to be better, and it's bullshit. It is actual bullshit. Like,
and speaking of working,
I know.
Today's topic.
Brilliant way. Because let's be fair, this is, admittedly, it's side hustle, side jobs, but we are working. You know, we do this as a side job to what we do every day. I work full time, which is now putting this, like, I realise how much I do and put into this now that I have less time. Like, holy shit. Just...
See, and I'm a full-time mom, and while I love the job, the benefits are shit, right? Like, I don't get paid, I don't get dental. I mean, unless it's me pulling the kids' teeth out, all right? Like, this is my dental plan here.
But yeah, like this is the kind of work that I ever see I'm realistic. Maybe a bit pessimistic. That's probably due to my mental health. This will probably only ever be sort of a side thing to earn a little bit of extra. I don't ever see it being my living. That would be great, but I just don't see it happening. And this is a job that I enjoy. This actually improves my mental health. As long as the games aren't making me rage. Then I'm great.
Fair.
Whereas real jobs, some have sucked and destroyed me. Some are okay for me. So it all just comes down to just the company, really. And the people they hire.
Well, before I had my diagnosis, I'm a very strong worker, and I'm not depressed. And because of the nature of bipolar disorder, you feel kind of invincible, so you take on everything you possibly can take on, and then you're just like headed straight for burnout. And so I couldn't hold a job, and I didn't know why. Because it's not like I'm not smart enough. It's not like I don't work hard enough. But it would tank my mental health and end up almost costing more money than I was making. Trying to get everything situated and sorted with the kids. And it ended up being something that I emotionally and mentally could not hold. And ultimately, like, I've been able, over the years, I've had different jobs that are from home, and those ones, like, this is pre-pandemic. I used to be a dispatch for something similar to Grubhub, but, like, local for us. And being able to work from home, that's probably the longest job that I had. because it's customer service, which I can do. But I am in a very different part of my life where I am trying to create, like, to sharpen and build my content creating to be my income, to be my support.
Yeah.
And so, like, it took me years to even consider it, though. And so now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I create? Where can I clock in? That's going to be steps in the right direction for making this become a reality.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very much still in that point of side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Very much. Like, I'm only coming up for 2 years streaming in total. Jesus. Because I started just basically as the UK went into the first lockdown. Something like around that time, March, April time, if I remember correctly, which is just insane. But
yeah, when I started doing My Sister Sucks at Video Games, it was pre-pandemic. We started in December of 2018.
that fucking hell.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
Like,
I had fun, but if I were continuing to do that channel, I don't think that it would be anything more than a hobby, a side thing, because it didn't fuel me. It didn't feel like.
it was fun, but it wasn't.
It was fun, yeah, but it wasn't like.
It didn't fill you and go,
Yeah.
ooh, I want to do this, I want to do that with it, and sort of push it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of got to a point where I was like, I guess I'll stream.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. And sometimes you go through that, and that's, whether it's a side hustle or a dream job, it is, you're going to go through those moments where you're like, do I have the time and energy for this?
Yeah.
I feel like that happens in the workforce, too. Like, do I have the energy to do this job?
Daily. And I don't even think that's a mental health thing. That is just life. Like, I've had multiple different jobs in many different areas and had a lot of different reactions to mental health from colleagues, employers, and the such. So it's always, because I got diagnosed before I started work, which was probably kind of fortunate. I remember my first job, I kept it quiet until they genuinely asked me one day. They were like, "You seem a little bit off. What's going on?" I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I've got depression." Just throw it out there. And they kind of just went, "Okay, that's fine," and then just nothing else. There was nothing really heard about it.
Right.
And following job, I again kept it hidden, didn't say anything, and felt like I couldn't say anything because the people I worked with, the company didn't really have any sort of mental health policy as it was anyway. I worked there in 2018, so mental health was out and about, but there was nothing really getting pushed at the time. Because of the people I worked with, they would happily mock. They would say, "Oh, mental health bullshit," or this and that. The usual types of jokes.
The usual, yeah.
Yeah. And I wasn't getting on well with that job. Well, not the job, but the people I was working with anyway. So that just sent me even further down. Ended up quitting that job due to my mental health because it absolutely destroyed me. There was no doubt about it. And then my previous job wasn't too bad. I was there for 3 years. They were relatively open about it. They would be like, if you've got any issues, come see us and all that. And they did, in the final year, they did make it mandatory to do a mental health training module. Which, to be fair, I was the first one to do it in my store. Mainly because my manager went, he's doing it first. Let's get his input, because at that point I was very open about it. I was like, I have depression, I have anxiety, I have OCD. There's no fucking stopping this.
Right.
And to be fair, it wasn't bad. It was a good start. I felt they could have gone further. And it just never got any. it was a nice start, and there was a few people that were like, "Oh, this is bullshit" and all that, but most of them were all right with it. But my current job, this is the best one. They have a mental health first aider there,
That's fantastic.
Which is great. Like, and the place is you know, it can be busy and it can be stressful, but it's a lot more relaxed, and they're more open about issues in general, and I think that's the main thing.
I feel like people would have fewer issues just knowing that if they needed to go to somebody, they could.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like that would take down a lot of the anxiety of like, oh my god, what happens? You just go talk to them. Okay, well if that's all right, I can do that.
Because this is weird. Because I have noticed this, especially while I was doing interviews while I was trying to get my current job, and in my old job, they did have an outside company that did like free counselling and stuff that they paid. You know, if you ever needed it, talk to them. I never used it personally because I chose not to. So I can't comment on how good or bad it is, but I have seen that happen quite a lot now. They are becoming more, especially in the UK, employers are starting to become more aware of mental health and trying to give people either a mental health first aider to talk to, or an outside company, or HR, or someone, you know, to talk to if they do have a problem, so that, you know, we don't have this issue where it gets buried under everything else and it just keeps escalating and escalating until you end up not being there.
Right.
Because
a lot of the companies in our area, we're a very like network centric town. So like all the business owners are always meeting new business owners and interacting and connecting, and it's great. And going to different meetings in our area, they've started doing full personality tests.
Ooh.
And there's one that has like, I want to say like 32 personality traits or something. And like, based on the order you get them in, kind of tells a lot about how you experience the world around you, and how you accept criticism, and how you accept compliments, and how you handle pressure. And a lot of the companies now are really making sure to have that happen, so they, as employers, go, oh, okay, well, for you, verbal recognition is a big deal. For me, it's not, but I can do that. I can recognize you when you do the things I need you to do. And so, like, it's a really cool way that employers are not only, like, learning about their current employees, going into hiring people and seeing if it's even compatible, because somebody can have all of the right things on paper, but then you just don't get along, and you just can't get along. And so here we've been taking it, I can't speak for the US because really aren't words for how insane it is from one place to the next. But you know, in our area, our small area of Missouri, it has been more of a conversation, and more people are becoming like certified in these personality tests, so that they can go to companies and help give them out, because it is making a difference in how productive those companies are becoming.
See, that's the thing. I think it is, companies are finally waking up and noticing that you have, you know, finding the right person, not just skill set wise, but also personality wise, so they fit in, and, you know, and they are starting to spend a little bit more to look after you, so that they are not, so the staff turnover is lower, and then morale's higher, so the production is higher, and it's just better all round. They are finally, it's taken a while, but I think companies are starting to open up and realise that we kind of got to look after these people, otherwise they disappear.
Right, and the turnover rates are insane, especially now when I could go down the road to a fast food place and get $14 an hour walking in the door. I don't really care to stay in a place that I'm not feeling appreciated if I don't have to.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's, if you can, if you find a, and I think that's the thing. Like they offer like a lot of money, but half the time it's a lot of people don't care about the money. It is more about just being content enough in a job.
Feeling safe, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're not feeling like that, you will be feeling, because the most common mental health issue relating to work is stress. And that's what I feel like they're trying to combat now, is lower that stress level, they'll be happier. Less time off work because they are not stress, causing other issues like sleep, lack of sleep, or any physical injuries that make them mean they can't work, stuff like that. And it's quite nice to see that they are finally turning it around, honestly.
Yeah, and to me, just, it was so impactful to see the mental health conversation beginning. I never even really considered its implications in the workforce. I just always was like, oh, good, we're talking about it. But the significance of employers going, oh, hey, this thing affects so many people. How can I make it work for me? Because that's what employers need to do. They need to figure out how to make the money work the best way they can.
Yeah.
So they can make more money. And in the case of mental health, providing help, providing options, making sure that people know that they can talk about what they're going through and they're not going to be like given a whole bunch of shit. Like, even with my mental health being a factor and that being hard enough to get a job, can you imagine in a pandemic age how many times I have to go pick my kids up from school because someone close to them coughed?
I bet that's quite a few.
I have 9 kids in school right now. Yeah, and a toddler at home. And I shit you not, at least once a week, some kid is sent home for being close to someone who might possibly be positive for COVID. Whatever, I appreciate them trying to be like on top of it. I hate that they send the kids home all the time. I only hate that because they send me letters about how I need to partner with them, increase the kids' attendance. I'm like, yeah, how about you just fucking stop sending them home? Attendance increased. And so, like, if I had a job, how could I explain to my boss at least once a week I have to leave now? I have to leave now to go get my kid.
Yeah. It's like I think that is the biggest thing, is employers are not just listening more, but they're also hiring people that are more understanding and listen more themselves. So that it is becoming more open. So it is breaking away from that old thing where it's just you do your job, you say nothing, you just get on with it.
You show up 8 to 5, don't talk back, do the things. Like,
yeah.
Even the thought of that is giving me anxiety.
Nah, I don't like it. I don't like it when it does that. It's not fun. Like, just no.
And your job doesn't have to like always be, butterflies and rainbows.
It's never going to be all the time.
It is important that you have those times, though, those segments of time where it's like, you know what, I enjoy going to work. I enjoy my job. For what I'm getting paid, I feel appreciated. Like, it's good to have that feeling. It's, like I said, not going to be every day. There are going to be some days where you're like, God damn it, I just want to be doing nothing.
So
we all
much.
have that.
So much. Yeah,
we all have it.
It's just being content enough to just, and if you're not feeling content, it sucks. And if you're not feeling great due to your mental health because, you couldn't sleep or something because of bad thoughts or anything, that's where a good or a half-decent employer will be like, okay, you're not 100% today, just do what you can, just try your best. that's what I am seeing more of, which is way better to deal with because you feel like you're listened to and you can, not take it easy because you don't want that because you tend to be beating yourself up because you're going slower anyway. But they're more understanding about it than.
Yeah, they're less patronizing. They're less like.
Yeah.
You think you could just go ahead and do what you need to do?
Yeah. Like.
Oh, and I'd like to go home now.
Like the old-fashioned type boss, which I've had a few of them. They don't give a shit. They don't really listen to you. They just give you the orders and go, do it. Come back when you're done, type of shit. And that is annoying. Makes your mental health worse. And just fucks me off to no end. Like, I hate it.
So, for me, being talked down to, I'm not a stupid person. I do struggle if you say, you gotta do it this way. And I go, why? Not to be difficult. You tell me why, I will be able to do it that way. I will know exactly why I have to do it. If I go, why? And you're like, because this is how you do it.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it when it just is.
Like, why? Just tell me. And that's, how my brain works. If I can't get past that why, I can't do the job. And it's not me being stubborn or difficult or mean or rude or defiant. My brain's like, why are we doing this? I'm like, well, we have to do it. But why? I already asked. I didn't get an answer. Okay, but, why? So, it's becoming like, I feel like there's a lot more communication and openness in the workforce with, like, people say, hey, I understand that this is how it's done, but I need more clarity. I need to understand why. I feel like that question's being answered more. I feel like people are showing up and being like, oh, because you're thinking differently.
Yeah.
Let me try a different explanation. Like, I feel like that's actually becoming more, instead of like you just do your job. You can't, because I don't know why.
I have experienced that sort of firsthand. Because of my anxiety, I like to just double check everything. Someone gives me a list of things, I will just repeat that list back and just be like, yep. It's correct. This is all you're asking. Nothing extra. I'm not doing any more than I need to, anything like that. I've had people go, stop repeating me. I had that for a good 2 months. Every day, multiple times a day. Stop repeating. It never went away. What a shock.
Right.
Whereas,
so you want me to stop repeating you?
Yeah. And that was in a job that made me want to hide my mental health, and I had to try and cope. And it made, when you're not able to at least partially think, like let your brain work how it works, it makes it a lot harder, makes it more stressful, makes it more difficult to think correctly.
I was younger, I'd say okay. I'd say okay when I was stressed. Understand? Okay.
Just, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd panic.
When I get stressed, I frazzle. I'm just like normally I'm quite methodical, make my lists, work through it. Stressed, that list goes, bye-bye.
Yep. What are lists even?
Yeah. It's just like, have I done this? Have I not? I don't know. And
I don't know, yeah.
And this, in other jobs, it has paid off for me to question it and make sure that I am correct before I do it. I've had that actually in the last couple of days. Today alone, I had one where I was like, just double checking, you want this and this. And thanks to me double checking about that, they actually realised they had made a mistake their end and corrected it. So we were all good. And I'm like, I've had people tell me just not to question things, not repeat everything. And I'm like, yeah, but I need to, just for my own sanity.
Right.
Because if I don't question it and double check, I will question if it's even correct. I will think I've done it wrong.
And that's So, Wyatt. Wyatt will get me. If I'm like, hey, this is causing me a little bit of anxiety. If it's like a memo or a text or whatever. This is causing me a little anxiety. I'm not sure if this is what you mean. Let me know.
Nothing.
Then every, like, let's say 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, they hate me now. Oh my god. I did it so wrong. I did it so wrong that they don't even want to talk to me anymore. Like, that is not how it works, okay?
I have felt that and had that, and I've experienced that, not just today, but in the last 2 weeks, pretty much every single day at work. It is, like, I've sent out an email or I've sent something, I'm like, you know, I've given it an hour or so, I'm like, did I send that? Did I send that? Did I do it correctly?
Did I word it right?
And I have I had to genuinely ask him and just be like, just to double check, I did send this to you, right?
Well, I've had
I'm like,
in the streaming realm and even in like friendships in my life, I've had times where I will send like this, I will be sending messages or I'll send a long text and nothing. I will straight say, okay, could be that you are busy. My anxiety is telling me I said something wrong or did something wrong, and I just need to know what it was.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I appreciate your honesty. I've just been busy. And a lot of the times they're like, I respect the fact that you're telling me where you are and why it's happening like that. One of the things that my boyfriend recently said is something that his younger sister, like, it's always stuck with him, that she taught him, that you have to teach people how you want to be treated.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that was like, I always feel like an inconvenience. I'm working on that. But if I'm asking you to do certain things because it's for me, I'm like, but why would I do that? You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard to put ourselves in a position where we're like, we're important enough to have rules and boundaries and things that make us feel heard and seen. And I feel like not just in relationships, but in the workspace, that's becoming, especially if you've got somebody who's there to talk mental health whenever.
It's kind of nice. I've not had to like talk to them yet regarding my mental health, which is kind of nice. But it's a nice thing to know that if ever needed, it's there. It is
really
there.
I do think that probably negates a lot of stress, like with every employee there, because like, okay, I think I might fall apart today. There's a plan in place.
Like, genuinely,
like that. I like knowing there's a plan in place.
Like, I walked in one day and it was just cold, wet, windy. You know, I was tired, and someone was like, "How are you?" I was like, "Not great." They're like, he's kind of unfortunate, he's not in today. I was like, oh, not like that, but like, even other people are like, if they ask you and you give like weird answers, they're like, they can.
I went for the longest
go
time.
on then.
I used to say some of the craziest shit when people would ask me how I was doing. Not because I was feeling like, I mean, I would say food, I would say colors, I would just say like random shit just to see if they were listening. Let me tell you, they're not. I don't think I had anybody stop me ever. They're like, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, purple flowers. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like,
no.
Yeah. Genuinely. So,
being heard is a big deal.
In my old job, it actually became basically a meme at that point. By the time I left, they would walk in, they'd be like, how are you? I'd go, I'm here. That's it. They wouldn't. They would not like. They'd be like, as usual. I'm like, yep. Because by the end, I was physically there, but mentally, I was not. I was nowhere to be seen.
I remember you were so stressed out.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it, and you were really excited about getting the new.
Like,
because
it's just better routine, which is helpful, and see that's another thing. If you've got bad mental health, is the routine. And if you're unfortunate enough to work shifts, it fucking blows your fucking mental health out the water. It's horrendous.
Right?
Like, it takes so much to get used to.
Next week, I don't know. Ask me tomorrow.
Yeah. It's stressing. Like, because I missed so many streams due to working. I missed hanging out in streams that I really enjoyed. Yours, because you used to stream exactly when I used to work, and I was like, for fuck's sake, every time.
Well, and that's honestly, like, even in streaming though, having consistent schedule, having consistent content is really important for mental health, because you can just jump into it. I mean, just to be clear, everybody who's ever streamed does this. You can jump and be like, I'm gonna always stream forever.
Oh god, yeah.
What time? I don't know, whenever I feel like it. That's not gonna work.
I genuinely, I started streaming like that. I literally streamed every day I could. Every day I was off, or any time I was in an evening. I got to a point where I streamed, I think I streamed 14 days in a row for a good 2 hours. No, I did a YouTube video and TikTok every day in December.
Oh. Right.
But to be fair, I kind of cheated on that. I did a lot of the I did a lot of the shooting for it in one day,
Nice.
And then kept it as simple as possible every day. But yeah, I used to stream like every day when I first started, and it's not good. It's not clever, and it's
right. And you hear people.
It's like people say the grind. You know, it's all about the grind and the hustle. And I'm like, no,
that's not grinding and hustling. That's just killing yourself slowly.
It's just, you're slowly destroying yourself. Like, no, thank you. That's not fun.
You'll have people who are like, oh my god, my brain just died. Never mind.
It's about right.
Yep, about right. No, they'll be like, oh, you gotta get out there as much as you can, like you're saying, the grind and the hustle. And then you've got those who are like, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter what time you get on. Just kind of getting on helps. Just stream for an hour or two every day. No, it doesn't. If you're just sporadically doing,
it'll do more damage because unless you genuinely are doing it just because, you know, and you don't look at the stats or ever chat or anything like that, so you basically don't sort of notice them, then yeah, you're probably all right. But excuse me,
you're not gonna grow.
But yeah, like if you're doing it sporadically, there's probably less people in chat. There's not going to be the same people in chat to sort of grow that community and get the, you know. That's how I got my mods. They stuck by me, and now they run the stream.
Honestly, I was blown away by the community I had on my other platform that has come over to the new platform I'm on. And, like, it's hard enough to get people to change, like, platforms or mediums, like getting people to go from Twitter to Twitch or to Insta or whatever. So to go to an entirely different app that people don't really know very much about, to be on Bigo now, having some people come over with me was like, it meant so much, but it also helps kind of show how important it is to the people who want to be in your stream for you to be consistent with your content so they can show up and hang out. And I used to stream at night. And streaming at night worked for me because I homeschooled. So during the day it was time for the kids. But now streaming at night is killing me. And I only stream for 30 minutes at night. But it's like I'll stream throughout the day, have a break, and then stream at night, and it's right around dinner time. So I don't get to really see the kids. I don't get to really hang out. March is going to be different because I am signing up differently. You know, lesson learned. But having, like, you need to make sure that you have something consistent for your routine and for your sleep schedule. Some people do really well. My younger brother is very well staying up all night, being asleep all day.
Fuck that.
His biological clock is flipped, and he excels late at night and sleeps during the day. Can't do that. I used to get like I used to wake up every 30 minutes.
Ew.
That was my sleep. Yeah. Oh, that's not great. Now I have to have 8 hours of sleep. I don't get a vote in it. Once I take my nighttime meds, it's 8 hours. And so
Nice.
I have to stay on my schedule so that I can wake up and do stuff with the kids.
That's the thing. It's always about trying to find, any type of work that fits in with your schedule and your, keeping you on a level playing field. If work is not playing ball or even, causing friction, it causes issues and it will make your mental health drop. I know. I've suffered this. I have cancelled streams due to having to work, or work being so stressful that I just couldn't. And it's all about trying to find that balance, and that's really what's so much nicer about, with employers and companies now, is they are starting to open up about mental health, making it easier, keeping that balance a bit better. When companies are more open to saying, right, so these are the times we want you to work, and you're like, yeah, I can work pretty much within that, a couple of tweaks, to make it fit around you better, because they have realised that you have a life. You're a human. And
it used to, my limited experience in the workforce, used to be like grind hustle mentality at work. Like, you need to put in your all, be your best self while you're here. Well, if you do that, you're not able to bring that home. You're not able to bring that energy and that best you home, and then your home environment becomes exhausting. And me going to work and then coming home terrifies me, because I can't imagine a job where I have to work harder than I do as a mom of 10.
That is, yeah.
But if I go into work and I have to go to this is work environment, and then I come home, those 10 humans are going to be very much on like my short list. And it's not because of them. It's just that there's a lot. And I've already been through a fucking work day.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, just the idea, it really, like, it stresses me out so badly. Thankfully, I don't have to work full time. I'm allowed to pursue my, content creating. But worst case scenario, my content creating doesn't work. I have, support system and, things in place where we're okay. But trying to get a job, oh God.
See, I think it really does prove, like, 20, 30 years ago, you'd see people work all day and then they'd go home, and because they've had to try so hard at work, they've done nothing at home. And then that makes the home life deteriorate. And I think that's why you see a lot of, because some movies and TVs show this quite well, is, that's how marriages and relationships break down. Because the company demands so much of you, so you're like, right, I've got to do this, I've got to keep it up there. And then this side of your life wants to demand that much, and you just can't. And you always end up choosing the job, even though you hate it, because money.
And that's what you need for the family, right?
Yeah.
And it
sucks.
literally used to be like in the 60s over here, there would be like PSA videos in schools about how your dad's been at work all day. You don't want to stress him out, so don't tell him any of your problems. Right? You make sure you help your mom, and you make sure that you do what you need to do, or like make sure you're being the man of the house if it was towards the boys. Like, it was very, very like, this is what your cookie cutter household should look like. Yeah. And dad's at work, and because work is stressful and work sucks, don't you even think about distracting him with your problems, because he shouldn't have to worry about that. That's what was taught to kids. And so obviously the shift in taking mental health at like as a family discussion, or at a level where you can share it, I mean, it's taken decades to get to where we are now, and we're still in the infancy of actually like really being a safe place for mental health and for those of us who are on our journeys.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like back then, they used to, pay was okay for the time. But you worked hard. You didn't get as much, time off and stuff. And they made you. But now they are starting to realise that you work your people that hard, they ain't going to be there long, or at full capacity. Like, it's now, now that the studies about, the mind and the mental health and, how it all interlinks there's more of it. There's more research going on to it, proving that if you don't look after these people and you're spending a lot of time with them, 40 odd hours a week on average, there's going to be issues if you don't look after them. Like, they'll give you everything they can, but if you keep demanding more, they will break. Like, there is no doubt about it. There is only so much they can take.
Well, and over here, I don't know the situation in the UK, but 20, 30 years ago, you could work a low-level job and pay for your house.
Mm.
Here, like, if you were to transfer, you're making less than they made at the time. Cost of living is so much more.
Oh,
and
cost of living's going
like,
up. We're struggling to do anything. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's been... This is pre-pandemic. With the pandemic, oh my god. We have something called the child tax credit.
Mm.
When we file our taxes, which we have to do every year, we have...
We've already spoke about that and how dodgy that is.
Something on there where we can list the kids that we have in our household that are dependents, and we get a tax credit back. And that's really just like money that's for the kids, really.
Yeah.
And so with the pandemic, they actually split that money and gave some of it every month to us for every kid that we have. And that was what was getting us through, honestly, because you couldn't go out and get a job. You couldn't really go out and do anything. And then that stopped. The last one that happened was December.
Ooh.
They have not done anything to kind of help the kind of families and households that were really relying on that to, pay like rent, utilities. It's not a laziness, because it's very difficult to get and hold a job. Employers are offering the moon, but that's because they don't think people are going to stick it out 3 months. You get some sort of crazy ass bonus if you're there for 3 months, but if you get COVID, I mean, you can't you don't usually get let go, but
it's like
10 days of hell, and then when you come back, you're like struggling to breathe still and everything, and like
they'll use that as a it'll be bad performance. Bye.
Right. And I live in a place that's called at will fire state, so like they don't have to tell you why; they can just fire you.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
It's pretty stressful as an employee.
And
they don't have to have a reason. They don't have to.
I think it's those sort of things that cause the stress, even before you even start the day. Like, like if you just took that away and made it, you have to have these certain steps before you get sacked. At least then that that'll give you a bit more like, okay, I'm safe in my job right now. I don't have to worry, which would then make you just that little bit happier and then that little bit more productive. Whereas, that you could just get fired for no reason at all whatsoever right at the start. You start going, what's the point? Why give my all when they can just drop me?
Take it away, right? We don't have a lot of entry level jobs that offer things like benefits. Like we don't have a lot of things that, like, if I were to go out and get a job today, would likely have to be some sort of fast food or restaurant.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go in, walk in, get a job today. Those are hella stressful environments to work in. Not just like company to company or crew to crew, but like just in general, the amount of volume of stuff you have to be able to do and juggle all at once.
It's ridiculous.
When when you pair that with anxiety and things like how I struggle to move forward if I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Like, if I have somebody who comes in and they're like, okay, I want to order this, but I'd like to make the substitution. It seems like it'd be a totally fair trade and substitution. And I go and I'm like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, no, you can't.
But why?
Why? Why? Well, you just can't in the system. I'm like, I have pen and paper. Make it this. Here you go. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. What are you telling? Why? Why? Oh.
Yeah. It's just like, just jobs are just naturally stressful, but it's nice to see, well, especially in the UK, and seems like at least your area of the US, that they are starting to go, right, let's try and tone this down a bit, see what we can do.
Even. Just like
consider
that mental health could be a part of it.
And that's the thing. It's slowly getting there. I wish it was a bit further on. I wish there was. I think, as I said, maybe in the first one, I wish that there was mental health training in all jobs, and maybe a mental health first aider or a company that will do that sort of, if they do need it. I believe that should already be, that should already be there, but hey, it's not, and we're working on it. And it is.
We have so many areas of need as far as growth and the awareness of mental health. And I know we're making progress. I know I've seen it in the last few years since I've joined the mental health conversation, really, but there's still so many things I want to see. So many things. I want to see that when a child is born, the dad gets to be home for a little bit. Like, I want that to be standard.
How much is a little bit?
When I gave birth to my oldest daughter, my husband had to go back to work the next day. Like 2 weeks would be cool. 6 if possible. We don't have anything. You guys get 2?
We got 2 weeks.
Yeah. See, we get nothing.
See that, and I think that is definitely I think this is why us doing the podcast is quite informative, because it's not just it's not just like mental health as a whole. It's very much you see the difference in how mental health is affected between two very much like first world nations.
I had severe postpartum depression. And postpartum depression does not mean you don't like your baby. Be clear. Postpartum depression is just a depletion of all of the happy chemicals because you just went through a trauma. Giving birth. It's a trauma. It's a beautiful trauma, and it just still does a number on your mental health. I had to have somebody come over to the house every day when he had to go to work, make sure I didn't take all the meds in the cabinet.
Ouch.
It wasn't for any other reason that I now had this tiny human who relied on me and I didn't think I was worthy of it. And so many people struggle with postpartum and they are home by themselves with baby. And horrible things can happen in that mindset. And I don't condone any of them. I'm just saying, with negative mental health, I think that being able to have dad there for just a week or two, just to learn the
ease
new
the
routine
pressure
and heal. We have to heal when we give birth. It's not just like that was a little bit of exercise. There's damage. There's damage done. There are some moms who have to be cut open in order to have the baby, and that's much longer healing than if you don't have to be, which also requires healing. So it's like a huge traumatic event, and they're like, well, I mean, dad didn't give birth though.
Yeah. And that like that is, it's bad enough for the mothers, but then the fathers, they want to be at home. Let's be honest,
right.
But they have to go back to work. That fucking sucks. And they hate it too. It does make them a lot worse. Their mental health does dip because they want to look after their family. but they know that,
Right.
they want to be there and help, but they have to be at work. And it fucking sucks.
It does. It sucks so bad. And we'll have to have another conversation on another day about how horrific the systems are in the U.S. for miscarriages and how women are treated when they get to the hospital. Oh my God, it's terrible. And I know this because I've experienced it firsthand. And there's just so many areas of our society that we need to see. Nobody gives a shit about how it's going down. We need to see that somebody cares enough that it changes. And I love that there is there's a visible shift in a lot of workforces. I like seeing that. I'm intrigued and interested in finding out, or I guess in watching how that evolves.
Yeah, because I've been done. How old am I now? For six. I think I've been basically in and out of jobs for 6 years, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong. It's 5 or 6 years. And I have seen a shift in just that short a time with the companies that I've been with. Shift from not really caring or noticing to having something in place, which it's a small thing. It's a small thing for a company, but Christ, does it make you feel good sometimes. When I found out that my current job had, and because I mentioned it in the interview, I was like, I've got depression, I have mental illness. And they were like, oh yeah, we've got this and this in place. Christ, did that pull me in. It made it such a big, knowing
you paying me.
To be fair, I was actually going to take less money per hour for this job than what I was on. But admittedly, it was more hours, so it evened out. And then I was told that it'd be higher than what they had originally said, so I was like, oh, even better. But the biggest pull was knowing that they gave a shit about mental health.
Right.
If they don't... It
wasn't just
if companies don't care, I will walk away from them.
It wasn't just a pat on the head, it's okay, we know how to deal with that. It wasn't a condescending or patronizing. It was no, dude, we get it. We got your back.
Genuinely, a few... the last 3 or 4 interviews I've had, they're like, oh yeah, we've got this outside company that we pay every month. They keep everything confidential, so we don't know, how many people are using it or not. Which I think, fair. At least they're doing something. The ones with the mental health first aiders, they genuinely turned around to me and went, yeah, we have a first aider in the office, and people do go talk to him. It is, he keeps it all to himself. There is nothing ever shared, and it just made me feel good that I knew that if I was having an issue, there was someone there that would understand and help make that stress just alleviate a little bit and help figure out a plan to keep me there and focused and working, and that was a big pull for me, was knowing that they gave they were trying something, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Because, Christ, a lot of companies won't give a shit, and they won't, they'll be like, oh, just get on with it, and...
You over it already?
Yeah, and it's
no, I'm not. Thanks,
just makes it so much worse. Small little things, and I know we say they're small things, but it could be large to a company, but they really are only small. You may have to pay out a company or, pay for a bit of training, but in the long run, that will actually improve and make things so much better. Because, I can't.
Right? It's still in its infancy. I do truly hope. I think with all of the advocacy that's come out in the last few years, and all of the people who are being more and more open about their own mental health, do just see forward motion. I don't think that this is just going to shut down suddenly and be like, oh, okay, the mental health conversation's over now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't foresee that happening. So I'm just kind of, I'm just curious to see. Especially with... That's the next thing.
I feel like COVID really did push it forward, because companies had to realise, like, oh, shit. Like, this... So we have to adapt to this, and that's going to... Oh, excuse me. With the lockdown stuff, people couldn't leave their house. Companies started to realise, oh, shit, this, that's not going to be good for them.
Right.
And they are starting to finally realise that, we look after them, they'll stay with us, and do us good. Which is just a win all around. But some companies won't do that. Of course, they'll think about money over everything. But
right, and then when you prioritize money over people, then
oh yeah,
won't hold.
Yeah, it's not fun. I've dealt with those sort of companies. Not fun. They will, give you all the work in the world with that, and you won't really ask for it. You'll just be sort of told, here you go. And then they'll take it away from you super quick, and you're like, well, that's not helpful. Yeah. Like, shift work and, shop work, basically retail is a bastard. Because you can work at any point. They'll probably give you really crappy hours. Ish pay. I say ish pay because I was not too bad. I was very average. And you'll deal with a lot of shit, and they'll be like, that's the job. Deal with it. And you're like, well, no.
I don't want to. So
yeah, it's like, I've just had a customer scream at me for something that's out of my control, and you're telling me to just deal with it. I'm not paid enough for that shit. And that's the biggest thing people are realising is, you're paid, a wage, that's fine. But people are waking up and going, there's a lot of stress and a lot of shit that I don't have to deal with. Companies aren't looking after people. They don't care anymore. They will move if they are prioritising their mental health over money and stuff.
And with the pandemic, it gave us a lot of options.
Oh, so many.
Everywhere is hiring. Everywhere is hiring. There's no excuse to be in a job you hate right now, because you don't have to. Everywhere is hiring.
And I think it gave...
You could go work. You could do food if that's what you want to do. You could get involved in, dream job for me, I would go work at Build-A-Bear. I would love that. I would love it. I could, because you know why? The Build-A-Bear around me is hiring. So, if there's something you want to do, there's a niche. You got it. You can do it. Just find it.
That's the thing. The pandemic definitely did allow people and gave people to, because they couldn't work or because of the lockdown, it gave them time to think of, I'm not happy there. They're not treating me how I want to be treated. They're thinking more about their mental health and themselves instead of work. People are waking up and realizing, yes, I have to work, but they can at least, work with me a bit. And if they're not doing that, they will go somewhere that will.
Right.
And that's why companies are waking up and realizing, oh shit, if we don't turn around, we lose everyone.
Absolutely. And it's definitely altered the balance. I think that the balance needed it, so...
Oh, definitely. It got very much into a point where it was all in, the business owners and the company's hands. It was all stacked for them. But it's with the slow shift, it is starting to balance out, and companies are realising, shit, these guys have power. Because if one person's not happy, they tell the people they're working with that they're not happy because of this, and this. And then the other people start thinking, oh shit, right? He's got a point. We're not, either we're not paid well, or health and safety's shit, or this and that, and they don't care. And it spreads. And it spreads, and I can tell you it fucking spreads, because I know. I've been in that sort of environment where someone's complained about something that was unfair or not quite right. The whole team knew by the end of the week. Like, it spread. What did the company just didn't listen to it, basically. Didn't care, and just, didn't listen to us. By the end, half of us, like a good chunk of the team, all left. Within months of each other, because of, not just because of that decision, but a big factor in that decision.
Right.
And we all moved on to bigger, better things where people listened to us, people cared. And the company had to, they had to hire new people and then train them all up again. And I'm like, well, be nicer to us, we would have stayed. That's the thing, like...
And employers are learning to appreciate what they have and treat their employees with respect. And having little things like the first aider on site, or the some type of insurance that it doesn't even have to be like super expensive per employee, but something can be the difference between choosing one job or the other. As far as benefits go, and having like access to care. And I think that it is becoming more and more the norm that there are options given as people are finding their way back to the workforce. Very
much so. Like, companies are very much, especially in the interviews that I've had and the companies I've dealt with in my area of the UK, they will tell you all the benefits straight off. They will let you know all the good bits and all the shit bits all in one. They won't hide anything, because if they hide it and then throw it out,
find it anyway, right?
Yeah, we're going to find it anyway, and then we're going to be pissed and probably leave anyway. So, and it is very much, they give you the option, they tell you everything, and they're like, right, make your decision. And you can really, really look into every single one and go, which one's better? Which one works best for me? Because that's... work want the best person to do the job, which is fair. You're trying to find the best job that works for you.
Right.
And companies are finally realising that, better do that. Better sort of try and, it's not our way or no way. It's very much, let's work with them, and they will do more good for us than bad. Because if you have a high staff turnover, you're just constantly training people, and that then lowers your standards.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Besides that, staff morale is low when you can't guarantee that the crew you're working with this week is going to be here next week.
Like, it was known for months that I was trying to get out of the place in my last job. It was all very much a known thing. Did I give a shit? No. And I told people why I was leaving. Did it make a change to people? Maybe, maybe not. But I was very open with the fact that I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this place. And people understood why. Which I think made them start thinking, no, this place isn't great, because they are not caring for us in the best way. Like, they're not working with us as much as we would probably like.
Right.
And, it's just... That's the thing. It's just about getting the balance between, employers going, right, we want this, and employees going, well, we want this. It's about finding that middle ground, that agreement, and people are finally waking up to it and going, because employees know there's a give and take. They know that we can't have it all. The ones that try to have it all, they're never in a job. They just, no. And they're the... So it's finally that the companies asked, because of so many people opening up and being, the advocacy is really starting to, and the movement and the talks really starting to kick in. They're realising this, and they're like, oh, okay, right, yeah. Because otherwise, if you just stay, like, this is it, not many people are going to try even apply for you, because the word gets around.
Right.
If you're a company that doesn't care about your employees, or doesn't care about this or that, it gets around. It gets around fucking fast as well. Like, I've known things go around a town in a day or two because of a bad company. It's like,
and
gone.
bad news travels faster than good.
Oh, big time, big time.
More fun to talk about, more fun to share. Bad news travels faster than good. So
big time.
You can do 10 things right, you do the one thing wrong, everybody's going to know it.
And I think that's, companies are working, because obviously they've got, they want to make money. They've got a reputation that they want to put out there of, that will help them make money. So of course they're going to do things to try and keep that reputation up. So it is helping that the things that they want and want to keep is forcing them to change.
Right.
With society, and that is, it's slow, but it's happening. It's very much happening.
Absolutely.
And can't wait just to see how this evolves and moves forward, and really just to see what sort of happens with it all.
Honestly, I'm excited to come back to this same topic in 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Be like, hey, remember when we talked about it like this? Let's talk about where we're at today. What changes have we seen? What are we still wanting to see? I think that's probably gonna be something that I'm really, really excited about once we get to the point where we have enough stuff that we're revisiting. Oh, yeah. It's just to be able to compare the world we're in with the world that we have here in a little while.
Because it seems to be now that, it used to be the people with all the money had the control and chose everything. It seems like it's changing, that the amount of people now and what they want is forcing the change. Not exactly to what they want, but they're coming to a compromise which works for both sides as much as possible. And it is nice to see that the amount of people is winning over the rich people, honestly.
It is nice. It's definitely nice to see a shift in, I don't want to say power, but who we're listening to.
Yeah, so a social shift of, if enough people are saying it, well, then clearly something's got to be done.
Right.
And not just, I'm the rich one, I get to say whatever I want and I make the rules. It is very much, if enough people say it, something will be done. It'll at least be looked at to start with. And that is, I think that's the biggest thing, and it is the best thing. It's very much the mental health movement and the talk around it, lots of people. And it's involving more and more people because a lot of people are relating to it, and then that helps other causes. The LGBT plus community, minorities, they're all talking about their mental health and how society has made it shit for them.
Right.
Which then obviously ups the mental health talk, but also opens up their, that section of it and makes it even bigger. And more people talk about it, and it will never stop. It's alright.
I don't know if you can hear the kids or not. They're being real loud.
Yeah, not really.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this episode of Brains Are Rude, where we got to talk about mental health in the workplace and the changes that we're seeing and the changes we hope to see. I really appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with Ninja and myself while we are just having a good old time talking about how brains are rude.
Very much so.
We'll be back again in a couple of weeks, and we appreciate you spending your time with us.
Bye, guys.